How you doing, Jason?
Good, Jacko. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. I want to talk about an important subject, kids' development in hockey. And I was explaining like how things are and how they should be. And I just said, look, if you want a second opinion, I have one of the best players I ever had come to my place over the years, and you could talk to him. And I think they reached out to you. And how did that go?
Yeah, no, they did. It went really well. Kind of shocking to hear what they were doing with their child, where the child was on the ice 6-7 times a week at an extremely young age, like 8 years old. That to me is that's where you burn hockey players out, and I see that all the time. And I explain to the parent that one, I mean, she told me the story on what was going on and how in this, I don't know what you guys call it, a travel team or a rep team or whatever.
Travel.
Higher end
Travel hockey.
team. That's the fundamentals are just skating, shooting, passing. I'm like, now what does this guy think? He's Ken Hitchcock?
Yeah.
Like, at 8 years old. Now, you want to have fun with the kids. You want to, if you want to do things, you just play. I think you guys call it in-house, which is fun. The kids go out a couple times a week and have a skate and a practice and invest your money instead of traveling. They listed off the places that this travel team goes to. Well, Jesus, they're spending $5,000 a weekend just to take their kid to go play in a couple of games at 8 years old. Take that $5,000 and put it back into Hockey Alley. That's what you need. And then you're at home and you're training the right way. You want to be great. That's what you do.
I'm just looking at the travels that they do, and they go for like 4 games, and each game maybe they'll play like 10 to 15 minutes if lucky, and then they come back. So it's like basically less than an hour of hockey, and they spend around like $2,500 to $3,000 is the average price for a tournament to go out of town for a parent with family or non-family. So it's not fun.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
those ages, Jack. When you start hitting that 15, 16-year-old marker, you want to start setting yourself up where you're playing at the highest level, where there's the most amount of people watching. But to spend that money before that on anything other than just specific training, skill-specific training, it's a waste of time. There's nobody watching you at those ages.
No.
Nobody. Not a soul's watching you, other than the parents.
Yeah.
She was telling me that there's parents like putting their lips to in between the glass to yell at their kids so that the kid can hear them better. I'm like, holy man, this is nuts. This is 8-year-old hockey. The only thing you should be yelling is good job.
Yeah.
Good work. Good work, little Johnny. Good work, little Susie. Like, there's no sense getting worked up. That's how you burn a kid over. You put too much pressure on them, and they hate the game.
Yeah, you're from the Edmonton area, and we know about the Brick tournament. We've seen that stupid tournament for like 6 years now. When I was up there, it's just so hyped up that they think there's going to be scouts watching their kids, and you know about the tournament.
Gosh. Josh, at 8 years old, you don't know whether a kid's going to be a hockey player or not.
Well, the tournament's like for 10-year-olds.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
At those ages, you don't know. And I know so many kids that played in those brick tournaments, and guess where they ended up playing? Beer league hockey, men's hockey. They didn't kind of. You can't tell whether a kid's going to be a hockey player. Even at 15, 16 years old, you get a decent sense of whether they've got the skill set and the hockey IQ to play. But realistically, that's why they draft them at 18, and they would love to move that draft to 21. That's when you know what you're going to get out of a hockey player. My son played in a showcase weekend here not long ago, and we played a team from this travel team, rep team, I don't know what you call it, AAA, the best of the best from California. I wish I remember where they were from, and I mean,
was it Junior Kings?
And I don't remember what they were called, but they were awful. Like they were. I don't know if they were within 8 or 9 goals of any team.
Were they a AA or a AAA team?
AAA, and they were overage too. So our kids were, I guess you would call them U. Well, do you guys have a U? I don't know what they would.
Under 16, and there's under 18.
Yeah, so this team would have been under 17. So we would have been like 16 years. Well, I guess my son's 16 years old.
Uh-huh.
So it's a 16-year-old league, 15, 16-year-old league.
Uh-huh.
And these kids were 17, 18.
Oh,
that we were playing
they're
against.
18 and under. They're the 18 and under
Yeah.
AAA. Okay.
Yeah, you guys call them, I think, U18 or 18U or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
correct.
so they were much older than any of the team in that showcase, and they just got spanked, like just got spanked. And I'll tell you what, those kids probably at 8 years old were playing 8 days a week, and we don't do that here. We have 2 days a week, and maybe at 8 years old, it's usually every second weekend, and it's half ice hockey. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
4-on-4 half ice hockey. It's fun for these kids. That's what they're getting out of it. The only thing you get out of it, you get better by practicing and training with the right people, like you guys at Hockey Alley.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Jason. I want to tell you, so, out of all the years we've had a Hockey Alley, I've been doing this for 34 years. And I've had many NHL players. I've had over 12,000 players. I tell people, they always ask me, like, who's the best player you ever had? They mention me an NHL player. I said, no. I say, see that guy's picture on the wall? Jason right there, Jason Grinovich. That's the most skilled, best player we ever had over the years. And they always ask, you're welcome. I wanted to ask you, so did you do, like, as a kid, like you're the best one we ever had, and I've had like so many AAAs, juniors, you name every league we ever had in our place.
Yeah.
I mean, what did you do when you were a kid? How much did you do when you played as a little kid?
I practiced twice a week, and I mean I had an outdoor rink in my backyard. I mean, it's Canada. We have the luxury of everything's cold, and I would just skate and screw around with my buddies. And that was it. And then I played games on the weekend. That was it. That's all I did. I didn't start really doing anything. The only time I ever trained, I did some power skating when I was probably starting at about 12, 13 years old. I started into some power skating. And then, not that I was a bad skater by no means. It's just that's kind of crucial for you. And then I started training at Hockey Alley, and I never strayed. I never went to anybody else but Hockey Alley.
You didn't get confused. You don't get confused with the shots or the techniques. This is what happens a lot.
No, Jack. You have to stick with your what you believe in and what's the best, and stick with it, because if just for instance, even though I trained at Hockey Alley my entire life, that's all I know. And I were to train a kid. So I started up alley hockey, and I'm training kids, and then they go to you. Well, everything that I'm going to teach might be similar, but it's not right. It's different. So that's just going to confuse a kid and mess their shot up, mess their thought process up. You have to pick a place that you believe in and stick with it. And don't pick a place because, I know I've talked about this before, like, the 20-some-year-old kid that tells these people he played for the Red Army in Russia, when we all know the Red Army hasn't existed in how many darn years. Yeah. Like, and these people get bamboozled by that.
All the time.
They get bamboozled. All the time. And I remember being down in LA and that exact scenario, and I was standing on the glass when I was down there training with you, and there was this mom there, and this guy was with a stick that he probably pulled out of the garbage can because it was at his waist. I'm teaching her kid, and I'm like, "Oh, who's that?" Right? And she's like, "Oh, that's so and so." I'm like, "Oh, it's what's he doing?" He's always training my son. I started laughing, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, what qualifies him to teach your son?" She's like, "Oh, he played in the Red Army." I just started laughing. I'm like, "You played in the Red Army, eh?" All right, well, I guess you don't know anything about Google, because you probably should Google the guy's name and figure it out.
Yeah, that's how it is. They just if someone says I played this, they right away believe it's going to be probably the best training, and usually their kids don't get anything. But that's how I see it all the time. But your son,
no, they don't. And you get these coaches. You get these coaches that are coaching the teams, and they say, "Oh, in order for you to make my team, you have to train with me." So you're basically paying. It's bribery to try and make the team. You have to train with this guy who's useless. So he's making you worse, rather than just saying, "Hey, we're going to pick the best of the best."
No, they don't do that. They have to make them train so you get ice time. So if you don't even take a lesson sometime, they don't give you the ice time. It's just the way it is. I coached 1 year down here, and I never even promoted my place. I did it because I wanted to help the kids. A lot of the kids didn't even know I had the place. I didn't even know if they knew or not. Some of them knew, but I didn't even tell them to come to me. Didn't.
No, but that's the right thing. If they want to, and don't get me wrong. I think parents are silly if they don't train in Hockey Alley and they train elsewhere. But
Well, they can choose where they want to
As long
go.
as they're training with somebody and they're sticking with them and they're loyal to them, then that is what it is.
Yeah,
They either make them a hockey player or they don't.
Yeah, I see the shots. They don't change the shot techniques. The ones that come to me regularly, I can see the difference. And sometimes I see them, they mess them up, and I got to fix them again. I see that a lot, and But I remember.
Well, it's just as a trainer, it gets frustrating.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, well, why are you wasting your money coming to me? Because I have to just start from the beginning every time.
Well, you remember you were down there, and there was this one dad standing on the glass. I was working with this kid. He was about, how old was he? 14. And you were standing there, and then you kind of came up and whispered to me, like, why aren't you fixing him? And then I just said, talk to the dad. Do you remember that? Or no, it wasn't. I think this was about maybe 5-6 years ago. Do you remember that?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and you started conversating with, but yeah, that's what I remember.
Yeah.
Like you said, why did you?
I was talking to dad, and he was telling me all the places that he's training at, and I just asked him, I'm like, why? Like why are you doing that? Like, why wouldn't you just stick to this? Like you're messing your kid up. And they don't get it. And they really don't. Like I got a story of a kid that he's very loyal. He's a goaltender. Trains with a guy down in Lethbridge. Originally, that's where he's from. The family moved up to the Grand Prairie area, and he couldn't. They just kept cutting him because he wasn't politically. The family wasn't politically connected enough. Mm-hmm. So the kid ended up going to play for the Lethbridge in the JPHL, which is a rogue league here in Canada, Great League, rogue league. And now he's playing for the Spruce Grove Saints, which are one of the best teams in the country every year. And
that's Junior A, right? Tier 2 Junior A?
Yeah. Tier 2 Junior A. And he's one of the best goaltenders in the Alberta Junior League. I think he's actually ranked number 1 in the Alberta Junior League. And this kid just trained the right way. He stuck with his trainer. He stuck with it. He believed in it. The politics kept him out of AAA hockey. So he went to the JPHL, which again is a rogue league, a rogue AAA league. Frowned upon by Hockey Canada, figures. But, and he ended up being the number 1 goaltender this year in the Alberta Junior League.
Wow.
So if you train the right way and you stick with it and you believe in yourself, it doesn't matter where you go, where you play. They'll find you. Well, and that's another thing for parents to look at. Like when you're training, you're training at Hockey Alley consistently. Like that's, Hockey Alley is your go-to. That's where you're going consistently.
Thanks.
And you're doing your practices and your games with your team. And your kid is scoring and having success. Why would you change that?
Yeah.
Why would you change that? If you're seeing the games and you're seeing, one of the best parts I think about Hockey Alley is that you've got the radar gun.
Yeah.
The radar gun doesn't lie. That's to show kids, hey, listen, you were here, now you're here. You were here, now you're here. That's a measurable thing. Where these guys, they don't do that. They do nothing. It's like, oh, that looked really good. Well, show me that it was good.
I remember one day, it was like 2003, I was sitting with the scouts. It was Sharks scouts and it was Ducks scouts there. It was like a game between the rookie. It's like a rookie tournament. So I'm sitting there between them. And the guy comes around to like about the hash marks, takes like a backhand, maybe at the most like 30 miles an hour. It hits the crossbar. It didn't go in. And they're like, ooh, who's that guy? And I was laughing because I'm thinking if that puck went another inch over, they would have not even brought it up or made fun of the guy. Just because it hit the crossbar. And it wasn't even a hard shot. Just like, he just threw it at the net. And it was funny how they were reacted. Like, ooh, who's that guy? It was just like they're not really watching the technique. They got in awe because he hit the crossbar. And it was funny. I was laughing.
Yeah, it's funny what draws people's eyes to something. Like you make one good rush down the ice, and all of a sudden you get a check mark.
Yeah.
They're not. And don't get me wrong. No, that's some of the scouts are that way, or they're I call them the stat scouts, where they just go down the list and see who's got the top points and say those guys must be hockey players, right? When you get the good scouts, which you can see in the NHL, who's got good scouts, like the Avalanche, the Bruins, the Detroit Red Wings, you can see teams that have a great scouting staff. And I always mention Colorado because I think they're just built so well. Vegas Knights, again, another one built so well. They don't have a million first round picks like some of the teams do. because they suck. Obviously, that's why they get first round picks. They're creating hockey players. They're finding hockey players. They're building teams. That's what great organizations do. The other ones are, like I said, stat scouts.
Yeah.
This guy's got a lot of points. Let's just check some boxes.
Yeah. Like, speaking of kids hockey, isn't it all about developing the kids? Because it seems like these coaches are all about winning. It's all about themselves. And it's kind of, first of all, if you're coaching you want to coach and win, you should go up to the junior ranks or the college or the pros, but not with little kids.
Where a win matters. I don't remember winning or losing at 8 years old. I remember winning and losing in junior. I remember, when I was playing back in the day, we used to call it midget triple, which would be the U18 triple now. I remember losing out in playoffs.
Yeah. I want to ask you this question. I got to ask you.
I don't remember anything at 8 years old, so just let them develop and have fun.
Well, you're talking about power play. Is it possible that they can even set up a power play? I don't even think these kids in California even work power play. I ask a lot of my students, they hardly work even a power play at an older age.
Well, you have to once you hit, I'm going to say probably starting in Pee Wee, which would be your guys' 12U, I think it is. That's where it's at the higher levels, you should have, if you do it correctly, from the time you're 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, you can pass, you can skate, you can shoot. Okay, well, if you've got the fundamental bases covered and you're good at that, okay, now you can start working on a power play.
But not at 8 years old.
No, if you can't skate, shoot, or pass, you can't work on anything.
Yeah.
We had one coach coaching female hockey. I found it really funny because this was at would have been 10U for you guys. We call it U11 here. Mm-hmm. Same thing, same ages. But and I had her daughter the year before, and I was stationed and skating, shooting, passing. That's it at that age group. Nothing. No breakouts. I mean, you work on, with those stations, you're working on pivoting and sticking toes and stick up ice, and which is essentially a portion of a breakout, but you never dump a puck in and do a breakout. Well, This lady took over the team the next year and was like, we are not doing anything like that. We are going to have structure. We are going to have, they won one game all year. I won everything that year. Yeah. Everything. And the majority of those kids were the same group of kids that I had. So I know those kids could play the game. And they worked on so much structure, they forgot to move their feet. So at these young ages, Jacko, to think that you're going to do a breakout or you're going to, just go get the puck. Just go get the puck.
Yeah.
Go skate. Go have fun. Go get it. Go get it.
Yeah.
That's for the puppy. Go get it.
And make fun for them. And they get excited to play. Instead of punishing the kids, making them do the stupid ladders. And there's no point in ladders. I just don't see the point. It doesn't do anything but make him hate it. An effective practice
has enough conditioning in it. You don't need to. I don't get me wrong. There is a time where the Uncle Ned practice has to come out where there's no pucks and you're going to skate. But that's those are ones where you still are teaching them something.
But how old were we when we went to that?
If you're not working hard.
If you're
not working hard.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yeah, but how old were we, Jason, when we did those ladders in juniors? I mean, we were like, between the ages of 16 to 20, where it's like, it's all about winning at that age. It is having fun.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? At any age, Jack, you have to instill in the kids work ethic, and you have to instill attitude, right? Because those are the two things in life and hockey and everything in work that you can control. I'm gonna go to work every day. I'm gonna give it an honest effort, and I'm gonna have a good attitude, even if things don't go my way. So if you can control those, and like I said, sometimes even at the younger ages, if the effort's not there, they're pouting on the bench, the attitude's not there, okay, then you're going to have a tougher practice. But the majority of them, you might run that once every few years and run into a scenario like that at younger ages. But it shouldn't happen. If you're a good, solid coach, you have you should know how to keep those kids engaged and wanting to play. They should want to play. And regardless of the score, at young ages, if the whole team collectively works super hard and keeps a great attitude through the game, and you lose 7-1, maybe you just lost to a better team. Is that the kid's fault? Not a chance. So why punish them? because they lost the game. What do you do? It's not about that. It's about teaching them to work hard every day and to have a great attitude. And if they did that, you accomplished. That was a win in the game.
Yeah, it's true. It's just the coaches they just get their card and they think they can coach, and then they mess kids up, or the kids end up quitting. I see a lot of kids over the years have quit, like at the ages of like 13, 14, and they just stop playing, because they don't either. I'm against tryouts too. Like for the A and B levels, I think everybody should play. They always have tryouts, and they already have the teams picked before tryouts. This is what I see out here.
You know what, Jack? We have the same thing up here. We do not have that, at 8 years old. I think at the U13 or 10U for you guys, we start dividing the kids up into, we call them tiers here, like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And the reason you do that is it's just easier to coach. And it keeps it fun for the kids, right? If everybody is playing in the league as a tier 3 quality, all of those games are 5-4. All the kids are touching the puck. All the kids are doing that. Where if you mix them together, if you still ran a buzzer where it's 2-minute shifts and the two coaches are good quality coaches and they say, okay, we have an A line, a B line, and a C line, and the A's play against the A's, the B's play against the B's, and the C's play against the C's. It's a fun game for everybody. Everybody touches the puck. There's no reason to tier them. None whatsoever.
No.
And if you did that, think about how many teams you'd have just in the LA area to play against. You wouldn't have to travel anywhere. You could just play at home.
There's a lot of hockey in LA, a lot of tournaments, but still, they just want to go out of town. And I know kids that went this year 6 tournaments, 5 tournaments already.
Wow.
Yeah, like out of state.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy, Jack.
It's running them like 20 grand,
and what
30.
And what are you, like really, what are you gaining by traveling all over
Nothing.
the country?
I don't see any improvements.
Nothing.
No.
There's no, you're not getting anything out of there. And again, like you just said, you've seen a lot of kids at 13, 14 years old that quit hockey. Well, why?
Yeah.
Because they played 7 days a week and they played 200 games in a season, and they hit 13, 14 years old and they're not a kid. The only people that they know is whoever played on their hockey team. They're not a kid. They probably don't know how to throw a baseball. They don't know how to swing a golf club. They don't know how to throw a football. This is the only thing they know in life. Yeah. They're not multi-sport. They're not enjoying it anymore. No. So they're like, man, screw it, I'm done. Yeah. Well, look at that one boy that I was working with and the dad that was really having a hard time and from down in LA and trying to work with him on the mental health side of the game. And, he just doesn't want to play. He's burnt out. Yeah. His parents burnt him out. It had nothing to do with the game of hockey or anything. It was that every day he was forced to go to the rink.
And the coaches treated him like crap.
Yes, we skated every day, but it was on our own. We wanted to go skating.
Yeah.
Our dads weren't saying, hey, you got to get to that rink and you got to be out there for 6 hours a day. We went out there and screwed around. We played shinny. We worked on stuff on our own. We made up games. We did everything, on our own. It was our choice to be there. Yeah. Nowadays, these kids don't have a choice. It's no, this is what you're doing. And then you get, to the coach, and the coach is not a great guy and doesn't treat him well, and he's yelling and screaming at him, and how would you want that? Would you want that?
No, they treat the kids like crap, especially that student you're talking about. The coaches treat him terribly, and they make fun of him. It's a shame, and they let these guys coach, and then the kid ends up not wanting to go back, and I don't blame him.
Yeah. Well, I got a kid up here, good family friend of ours, and he's a youngin'. He'd be in Pee-wee, so that would be U13 here. And he doesn't want to play anymore. And so anyway, the parents asked, hey, can you sit down with him and have a talk with him? And I said, well, what's going on? So they kind of gave me the rundown. Well, the coaches are playing him he misses the last 6 to 8 minutes per period. He sits on the bench. And the coach says, you're a cheerleader now. And that's it. They tell him. And this kid, he's a good defenseman. He's a good defenseman, solid defenseman, makes good first passes, great shot from the back end, works his butt off, and has a great attitude. Mm-hmm. Great attitude. And he's a big kid. He's not small. And these coaches are basically playing favoritism with you. And it's like, man, hey, everybody paid their hockey fees to play them. This is not right. So the kid wants to quit hockey.
I
He's
mean,
like, you know what? I'll go to the practices, but I don't want to play in any more of the games because the kid's mentally broken.
it's
And I told
coach's
the
fault.
parents, I'm like, well, that's the coach's fault. And
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not right. Like a child at that age who is super, super passionate about the game and loves it, for him to not want to play anymore, you as a coach need to look in the mirror and say, what is wrong with me? Because I lost a kid. Like,
Yeah.
my goal at the end of every year that I coach is to make sure that all these kids come back and play again. They've enjoyed it. They've had fun. They've worked hard. I don't run easy practices. They're tough practices. But they're enjoying it. They're having fun. They want to play hockey again next year. When
Yeah.
the season ends, they're like, I can't wait for it to start again, and I hope Coach Jason is my coach.
Wow, that's a good
That's the
sign.
goal of a coach. Not having kids quit and belittle them. Like, how, what do you gain out of it? What do you gain as an adult talking down or belittling a child? What do you gain out of that? Like, how does that even stroke your ego? That's wrong. Those guys should be punished somehow.
Yeah, I agree. And the other thing that bothers me is a kid will have like a soda or he'll have a cake or donut and he's punished. He's not allowed to play because he's eating the wrong foods. I mean, they're kids. If he's going to have a little candy bar, he's a kid. We used to eat ice cream after every hockey game. That was what I did. I mean,
But Jack, who is this coach to say what's right or what's wrong? I got the luxury. The World Junior A's was here, and I got to meet Team Russia.
mhm.
Well, Team Russia in their dressing room, they had 2 huge tables set up. Guess what was on it? All candy, chocolate bars, gummy bears, all candy. Like, I'm telling you, all candy.
And this is
all
the World
candy.
Junior team for the Russians.
This is the World Junior A's, not the World Juniors.
Uh-huh.
But, like, Svechnikov was on it. Like, this is quite a few years ago. Like,
Svechnikov, yeah, the one that pulled that Michigan move. So if everybody, Carolina, okay.
Michigan. Yeah, like there was 4 or 5 kids that played on that team that play in the NHL now. The rest of them actually play in the KHL. So it was amazing. And this is what they ate in between periods, and they were forced to eat it. Their trainer would fill up cups and be like, eat.
Why?
And they would just gobble all these sweets down after the game. And this is no joke of a lie. They ordered in 20 large pizzas to be there right after the game.
Wow.
Before the kids even undressed, all of them ate a full pizza.
Wow.
Full pizza. Then they got undressed, showered, went to the restaurant, and had a full meal after that.
Wow.
So you're telling me that this coach is at 8 years old is punishing a kid for having a candy? Well, these guys are playing in the NHL, and that's what they're eating. So who is he to say, you know what, that's not their kid? That is, you can recommend and say, hey, listen, I don't want to see them eating sweets before and after the games. Like but at the end of it all, it's the parents' decision. That's their child, not yours.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I'm not
And
saying
if that
eating
kid goes
sweets
out there and
full time
gives
is
an
good,
effort-
but just saying that let the kids be kids is what the point is.
Exactly. And kids, they do need sugar, and they do need, you can't live on granola, right? Like, it just doesn't work. I guess you can, but you know what I'm saying? Like, they're still kids, and they need to enjoy it. And, if the kid scored a goal and the mom said, here's an ice cream bar, great goal. Man, that's on you, and good for you. Good for you for celebrating the goal that your son scored. Or, hey, you played a great game. Here's a candy bar.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's your treat. What's wrong with that?
I do that for my son.
30 years old.
I do that for my son. If you do good in school, you get this.
Yeah, but why not?
I was a
If that's
kid. I
something
remember
that the
those
kid
good
enjoys,
moments.
hey. Yeah.
That's-
I used to, before every game, I used to go and pick up, there was these little packages of gummy candies,
Mhm.
and I would eat a little package of gummy candies before every game. That was my tradition. That was my ritual. I did that all the way through junior, I did that all the way through college, and I did that all the way through pro.
It didn't slow you
I have
down,
a
did
little
it?
bit of-
Did it slow you down in your
No.
skating?
It did nothing. It was just a ritual that I had. And maybe it worked, maybe it helped, maybe it didn't. I don't know. There was games I'd forget to eat it, and I'd play the same.
I remember timing you on the
like-
big ice. Do you remember that? And from blue line to blue line,
Yeah.
while moving,
Yeah.
you did 1.3 seconds. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
well,
could
you were-
skate. I was quick.
Yeah, you were moving. I mean, on some of my videos where I'm interviewing the NHL players, and I have your highlights where you're going in, you're with the white jersey, and that's you. So
Yeah,
people
yeah.
haven't seen. That was Jason.
Yeah.
But yeah, you went like 1.3 And you had the,
Yeah,
and I think you were wearing the Mission skates that year.
yeah, I love
Remember?
those skates. I absolutely.
And they were
until
heavy.
Changed,
They were heavy.
well, every skate back
Well,
then.
no,
was heavy.
those were a
Yeah,
little
now, but-
heavier than the usual. They had
Well, but
that.
so to me, the way I always look at it, Jack, I really liked that skate. They were super comfortable until they changed the design, and then I just shredded those skates in a week every week. So, and then I had to switch, and I switched over to Easton, and Easton made me a custom skate, and those are fantastic. And then obviously Easton's off the market now. So, but a good buddy of mine did buy me a pair of Easton skates, and I still run those skates.
Oh, the Easton.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
still run them. Well, the Easton is the True now, right? So that's the design of the
the
Easton
same
Mako
design.
skate is the design of the True. Same design with that flex back or flexible tendon guard. I'm not a True fan. My son skates in them, and we've had nothing but issues with them falling apart, breaking. Brutal. Like we've tried to get a hold of True and get the skates replaced because they're cracked and broken. Like the fiberglass is broken. They won't do anything.
I've seen the rivets come out on my student skates. When they popped out in the middle of the lesson. The bolts that hold the blades, the holder. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a rivet that holds the tendon guard on, and that falls off. And they're just not a quality skate. I
don't know what's going on with them.
To anybody, I guess whatever it is. But
yeah. I mean, the another problem that I see with the kids is that it's like a fashion show out there. They need the top of the line gear. They're not gonna play. And I remember like when we played in Parkland, we used to play with a lot of talented players that had ripped gear. I mean, we all wore ripped gear, but I remember those guys out there with the cheap sticks.
Well, Jocko, we'd go to United Cycle and just pick up stuff that was cheap in the
$5.
We didn't care. It was a cheap stick.
Whatever. I think we paid $5 for a stick. Like this is we're not talking 100 years ago. We're talking like late 90s, early 2000s even those were the prices even then when we were playing. So,
Yeah, we did that. We didn't care. I know nowadays these kids are I know one kid was sitting next to the dad. I was down in Medicine Hat watching Nate play last weekend, and there was a dad there, and his son came up to him, and he was begging for the stick. I don't remember what stick he wanted or whatever, but he was begging, I got to get the stick. I got to get the stick. You got to buy me the stick. And the dad's like, man, you got 4 sticks. You don't need another stick. You don't break sticks. You don't, I don't like my Hyperlite. I want my Hyperlite 2, which is brand new. It's on the market, but this is a cooler stick. And it's like, man, that's $300 a pull.
Yeah.
Even $400. I don't even know what these
they're about 400 now. The top of the line, I think it's they tell me the kids what they're paying because I don't even go to the store, so I don't know. But
yeah, it's expensive. Like I'm like, oh my God, you got at your age, you got $1,600 worth of sticks sitting there.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, we could have bought probably 100 sticks at our time with that money.
Oh, for sure.
But we used to get our sticks from like when they were like the shafts were broken. We used to take it and just put a blade in it, and that's what we used. And we use those all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Well, Josh, I still use a 2-piece stick.
Me too.
I don't like the feel of a 1-piece.
Yeah.
Don't like it.
Yeah, I still use a 2-piece. I'm using that all day today and tomorrow. But that's we used to take any shaft, we flip it around and cut it just the right size, and just put a blade in it with a heat gun, and good
to go.
Yeah, it's good to go. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but you're 100% correct. Today is a more of a fashion show for the kids, and if you don't have the newest stick or the newest set of skates, and they'll make fun of you.
Yeah, this is in California. That's what I hear. They said that they'll make fun of you if you have a ripped gear. Or, it's not cool. Your skates are like bender skates they call it. If your skates are
bender skates,
my skates, I paid $59 for my skates used.
Yeah,
and I've had them well over a year, and they run real good.
My kids go in and they get like custom built skates because they're a little older, and it is what it is. It works for them, and the majority of the time, like my daughter, they'll put her 2 models down because they say the boot is too stiff for her because she's little, right?
At least they're
And,
not
you know,
cheating you
but
at this pro shop. At least they're honest with you.
they're super honest. Nate's a big boy, like he's 6 feet tall, and he's a big kid, so you know he needs that reinforced boot to hold him, right? So it's it all depends, but you know what you get, and who cares what you're skating in?
No, it's
Are
all
you
just
skating?
color and
Who
flash.
cares what your stick is?
Yeah.
Are you scoring 6 goals a game? Okay, well, what difference does it? Using a wooden stick, scoring 6, and somebody makes fun of you? Well, you got 1, I got 6. So
Yeah.
what are you making fun of?
Yeah, there was remember this one NHL guy. We used to play at Parkland every summer. Parkland's in Edmonton, and it's a mecca of hockey. So we used to play 4 hours there every day. And there was this one guy. He came out with like rental skates, like cheap stick. I think it was like $10 wood stick. Gloves were cheap. Everything looked awful on it. Like it was just really used stuff, right? But you got to see this guy skate, and he was so unbelievable. And I go, this guy's an NHL player. Everybody said no, he's not. And they didn't not everybody knew him. He was an NHLer. So I went up and asked him, and he was an Ottawa Senators player. But you could see the way he skated, even with that cheap gear, he was still so good. It didn't matter the gear.
I remember when he first got out on the ice, because I mean it was just like, you know, whoever showed up and paid $4 skated for 4 hours.
I mean, there's no names on the jerseys. You know, everybody has just a blank jersey or something else.
Yeah. So I remember when this guy came on the ice, I was like, oh, we got one here, boys. We got the ultimate shinny bum that probably can't even stand up. And then he was unbelievable. And I was like, this don't make sense. Like, it almost felt like it was, like just for laughs or gags, jokes. Like, and there's somebody was going to pop out, and like when Jaromir Jagr went to a beer league game, right? And pretended he couldn't skate and whatever. Then all of a sudden, halfway through the game, he's just dangling and scoring everything. And it's like, what the heck? And he takes his helmet off. He was wearing a full cage and everything. And it's Jaromir Jagr, right? So that's kind of what I felt like. Yeah.
But he had like those hockey skate, but they were like rental ones, like the white ones. They were like the low end Bauer, I think was something like that, the white Bauers. But he was phenomenal.
Like Velcro straps for him instead of laces.
Yeah. You told me that you did play against some NHLers at the Pro-Am tournament recently. Do you remember?
Yeah.
How was that?
I'm going into that. That's in end of May. Playing for a group called IPC. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty cool. So I don't really know who's going to be there yet. I mean,
who was there last year? Who did you play against last year?
Derek Roy, Todd Bertuzzi. Roy was on our team.
Mm-hmm.
Todd Bertuzzi, Curtis Glencross. Not Tony Twist. Brad May.
Oh, Brad May, Buffalo.
It was a heavy. Matthew Barnaby. Robin Regier.
Oh, he's a good one.
Jeremy Roenick. There's lots.
And how did they pick the teams?
Well, you know what? So you kind of formulate a team on your own, and then they have a draft night. So the more money that you raise for Alzheimer's, it's the Gordie Howe Foundation, and so the more money that you raise, the higher you are in the draft system. Oh, and then these guys that are basically auctioned off for draft, that's how you get them. So you can have the number 1 overall pick, you can have the whatever based on your fundraising.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's really good. Obviously, a great cause. Anybody can donate to it. So again, if you want to donate, even $20 or whatever, log in, type my name in, Jason Grinovich, and donate to my team. That'd be awesome. We have a goal. We're trying to hit $50,000 this year, just for our team of fundraising. We'd love to hit 100,000. It's a great cause. It's probably the worst disease out there. Is Alzheimer's, because you don't remember anything. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So you're a fully functional person and you live a great life, and then all of a sudden it's taken away from your brain. So very sad disease, and one that's near and dear to my heart because of a family that looked after us when I was playing up in Alaska. We got to be good friends with them, and she got diagnosed years ago with Alzheimer's, and still alive today, but it's sad to talk to her because she doesn't even remember who I am.
Oh, sad. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good cause you guys are doing. Good thing. Yeah.
Great cause.
Yeah.
I don't really skate anymore, so going to play at that pace, and it's not a definitely we do have some beers and have a
Yeah.
good time.
Are you?
But it's a very fast paced game. Very clean, very clean, very fast paced game. But it's still yeah, for someone who doesn't play on a daily basis anymore, it's pretty quick. So I'm a little bit tired and sore by the end of the weekend, but it's well worth it.
Are you able to keep up with the guys?
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I last year...
Because I know you're very fast. I mean, I know you could probably dangle some of these guys. I'm guessing. I don't know.
I did, actually, Jacko.
You
last
did?
year we were playing... yeah, we were playing for Tuesday's team. And it was for the win. Like, it was for the championship. I stripped him of the puck and went under his stick and through his legs, and I was gone. And next thing I know, he just takes the feet right out from under... And puts his hand on my back. He's like, I couldn't let you get away with that one. He starts laughing and helps me out. So yeah.
See, he's not gonna catch you. He's not gonna catch.
No, he wasn't gonna catch me, but his stick caught me.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're honestly great guys, and we all hang out, like, all the teams. We go upstairs and have some beverages and some pizzas and all that kind of stuff. And these guys are coming around, and some of them, they're Stanley Cup champions. They're showing you the ring. They're telling stories, and really funny stories. Great guys. Wow. Telling stories of shenanigans on the road and this, that, the next thing, and like you hang out with these guys for 2-3 days straight, and get to know them and get to know the stories and all that kind of fun jazz. And it's really an awesome time. Awesome time.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. I want to thank you so much for talking to us and giving your opinions on everything, and I hope that it can help the kids out there and learn from this, and help the parents.
No, I hope so too, Jacko.
Yeah.
And that you're in touch with a lot of parents, and if any of them ever want to contact me direct for some advice or some direction,
sure,
I'm always willing to help. My phone is always on. I'm an unbiased opinion. Yes, I am a coach, but I'm not trying to sell you to come play for my team.